Good morning, beloveds. Okay, sorry. I was afraid I was going to sneeze again. The weather's been up and down, up and down, up and down, and so my allergies have just decided to do that too. I'm just like, ah. All right. Okay.
What were you saying? You muttering to yourself?
No, I'm talking to them. My husband thinks I've lost my mind. All right. It is January 6th. Our title is I Consciously Live in the Eternal Presence. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Then in this way know God as having all things in himself as thoughts, the whole cosmos itself. Thrice greatest Hermes. Jesus with Oh no, wait. Okay, hang on. Jesus saith, and the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whosoever shall know himself shall find it. Strive therefore to know yourselves, and ye shall be aware that ye are the sons of the Father, and ye shall know that ye are in the city of God, and ye are that city. And that is Fragments of a Faith Forgotten. Since the kingdom of God is a kingdom of righteousness, and since it is a kingdom which contains everything, then it becomes of prime importance to seek this kingdom, which Jesus so plainly stated is to be found within the self. Of course, he was not referring to the lesser, but to the greater self, that self upon which is set the stamp of the eternal, the God self. The real self is inseparable from God. Thus, in discovering the self, we also discover God, the cause of the self. Naturally, everything is included within the divine, and since we are in it, and it is in us, true self-discovery is the key to the mysteries of life. Hermes tells us that God has everything within himself as thought, that the whole cosmos itself is a thing of consciousness. This is the true city of God. The city of right thoughts and the city and right actions. The city which is 4 square, the length and the breadth and the thickness of which are equal. This is the city which St. Augustine so beautifully depicts in his great essay on the relationship of the individual soul to the universal soul. All the sages and seers have plainly told us that we already walk the streets of this city, but like the slaves of Plato, blindfolded, our vision is blurred by shadows cast on the wall of human experience. Evil deals with shadows, truth deals with light, that which dispels the shadows. We are the truth. Evil is neither person, place, nor thing. Today, I consciously live in the eternal presence. The kingdom of heaven is within me, and I live in the city of God. I am one with all other citizens who inhabit the celestial metropolis. Here is a true communion of spirit I find. Let me try that line again. Here, in a true communion of spirit, I find unity, peace, and joy. He's getting really esoteric in January, which is why I'm kind of glad that I've read the other half, or the other 3/4 of the book before I got to January, because I'm kind of wondering if I had started with this, I was like, if the whole book's gonna be like this, because he's quoting from things that I'm not familiar with, like the Fragments of a Forgotten Faith. I think the thrice greatest Hermes is the Kabbalion. And he's just really esoteric today, and as opposed to exoteric, and he's just really setting your hair, as Jesse would say, he blows your hair back, or I would like to say he sets you back on your heels, and you're just like, wait, what is this, what are we talking about? Because he's speaking in terms of what every other faith has said. What he's doing here is he's pulling the various threads and going, see, this one said this one, this one said this one, this one said this one. We're building, so he is building his, and I'm going to say argument, he's building his presentation, he's building his demonstration on the threads of all of these other sages, all of these other works, all of these other faiths saying, look, we're all saying the same thing. You want to know God? Know yourself. And know each other. Because within each one of us is that God self. But each one of us is just a tiny part of that greater, the whole cosmos. So you want to know God, get to know yourself. Get to know yourself. Know that God self. Know that self that created the self that you are. And the way to do that is to turn within. It can also be to get to know each other, but to get to know each other on that God level, not that surface human level. So, today I consciously live in the eternal presence. This is what I seek. This is what I seek to know the eternal part of me, the part of me that is not material, the part of me that will go on forever because it's part of something greater than the material expression of me. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's Matthew 6:3. Everybody who has even touched Christianity probably knows that line. Then in this way know God, as having all things in himself as thoughts, the whole cosmos itself, which later on Ernest refers to and says, look, it's all God. It's all thoughts of God. So that's the thrice greatest Hermes. And then the fragments of a faith forgotten. Jesus saith, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. And who shall ever know themselves shall find it. Strive therefore to know yourselves, and ye shall be aware that ye are children of the, there's some dots in there, children of the Spirit, and ye shall know that ye are in the city of God, and ye are that city. So we are children of God, we are in the city of God, but we are also the city of God. So that's fragments of a faith forgotten. Might be worth looking up. There's not a bibliography in the back. That would be nice, right? Okay, since the kingdom of God is a kingdom of righteousness, and since it is a kingdom which contains everything, right? We're starting out, we're presenting our evidence. Then it becomes of prime importance to seek this kingdom, all right, which Jesus so plainly stated is to be found within the self, all right? So the kingdom exists. It's all around us, but it is also within us, and it's very important that we find this kingdom because we already live in it, and if we want to make the most of it, then we need to know that. Of course, he was not referring to the lesser, the material, but to the greater self, the spiritual self. That self upon which is set the stamp of the eternal, the God self. All right? The real self is inseparable from God. There's nowhere God is not. You cannot separate any being, any living being from God, because God created all of us, and God created all of us from the one substance, the God stuff. Thus, in discovering the self, we also discover God, the cause of the self. The first cause, as Jesse likes to call it. And actually he got that Ernest calls it the first cause. Naturally, Everything is included within the divine. And since we are in it and it is in us, true self-discovery is the key to the mysteries of life. True self-discovery. Know thyself. Believe that was Socrates. Could be Plato. Know thyself. You want to get anywhere in life, know thyself. That's kind of one of the things about prac training. You spend the first year in your own head to know thyself, and then the second year you learn how to help to serve, clients, to serve the people that come to you for practitioners treatment, practitioner sessions. But the first year, it's know thyself. You got to know where your triggers are, and sometimes you can disable them. But sometimes you just need to know that they're there so that you can, if you can't disable them, you can at least work around them. All right. Hermes tells us that God has everything within God's self as thought, that the whole cosmos itself is a thing of consciousness. I mean, Ernest would argue the same thing. The city and, let's see. This is the true city of God. And so here's where it gets a little weird, and I'm not sure what to do with this, and if anybody has any ideas, feel free to let me know. Okay, so this is the true city of God, the city of right thoughts and right actions. Okay, I get that. I understand that. Here's where it gets a little weird. The city, which is 4 square, the length and breadth and thickness of which are equal. This is the city which St. Augustine so beautifully depicts in his great essay on the relationship of individual soul to the universal spirit. St. Augustine was crazy and had some weird ideas, but he also had some really amazing ideas. A lot of the saints were crazy. But honestly, most prophets were, they've got one foot in this world, one foot in another. They're all crazy, but they're crazy in a good way. So crazy is not a bad thing. I call myself crazy on a regular basis. Because some days it's the only way to get things done. So you might look into St. Augustine's essay. All the sages and seers have plainly told us that we already walk the streets of this city. But, like the slaves of Plato, blindfolded, our vision is blurred by the shadows cast on the wall of human experience. If you have never read The Cave by Plato, it is totally worth it because it's one of those, it messes with your mind. Because you have people in a cave who are chained and they are watching shadows on the wall. And the whole argument is whether the shadows are real. Until one of them gets free, turns around and goes into the light and goes, ah! So, that's what he's referring to, Plato's slaves. He's referring to the cave. Evil deals with shadows. Truth deals with light. That which dispels the shadows. Light both creates and dispels the shadows. Because we can't have shadows without light. Well, we have shadows because things are in the way of the light. We are the truth. Evil is neither a place, person, or thing. And that's what we say. Evil is not a thing. It is a misuse of power. If we know the power, we know the source of the power, we use the power correctly, we cannot do evil. If we don't know the source, or we don't know that we're using a power, it's easy to do evil. And there are people who know the source and know the power and deliberately misuse it, and that is evil. All right? It is a misuse of power. So it's like we recognize that evil exists, but it's not a thing in and of itself. It is not a power in and of itself. Today, I consciously live in the eternal presence. The kingdom of heaven is within me, and I live in the city of God. I am one with all other citizens who inhabit the celestial metropolis. And here's the truth. Absolutely every living being inhabits that celestial metropolis with us. But a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us don't know that. And so we act out and we act in ways that are, inappropriate because we don't realize that we already live in the kingdom of God. We're still trying to get there. And I like the idea of a celestial metropolis. It's just a beautiful turn of phrase. And so that's one of the things. It's like, know yourself. Know that you already live in the city of God. Know that everybody else lives in the city of God. Know that for them. Treat them with the loving kindness and compassion that you can, so that they can come to know that they already live in the city of heaven, that they already live in heaven. To know that they are a beloved child of God. That is our call, to know that we are all beloved children of God. We all already live in heaven. And when they come to know that and come to act like that, then here we are. It's literally heaven on earth. It's like we already have it. It's an attitude. Here, in a true communion of spirit, I find unity, peace, and joy. All right. The mission today, it says it right there in the title, is to consciously live in the eternal presence. To go on that journey of self-discovery, which never ends. The journey of self-discovery never ends. Because the source of us is so big, we'll never learn it all. And that is amazing. That is amazing. That the idea that there's always something more to learn is amazing to me, and it makes me feel, it makes me feel amazing. To know that I'm part of something greater, and to know that I do live in the eternal presence. And so that's the mission, to be conscious of it. You will, through all of Ernest Holmes' readings and writings and, all of this, one of his constant drum beats is consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. The more conscious you are of who you are, who everyone else is, and the presence of God, the better your life will be. All right, that is the mission. So I also encourage you, here's your spiritual practice, to do something loving for yourself, to do something kind for yourself, to do something compassionate for yourself every day. You are practicing upon yourself to create a habit. It is a spiritual practice to create that default setting, to create that first response. Because if you can do it for yourself, because honestly, let's be honest, most of us, a loving, kind, and compassionate response is easy to people we don't know. It's easy for people that we love. It's hard to do it for ourselves. So if we can do it for ourselves, we can do it for absolutely anybody. All right. That's why I encourage it. And it doesn't have to be a great big thing. It can simply be taking 3 deep breaths before you speak. It can simply be, taking that 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to enjoy a cup of coffee or tea or what have you. Or it can be go take a nap or go take a walk, whatever it is. It's a love, kind, compassionate thing that you do for yourself absolutely every day. And it can be the same thing or it can be a different thing. I encourage variety. All right. So that's that. I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like. I encourage you to go get a face full of sun. if the sun will cooperate. There was no sun this morning. It's supposed to be partly cloudy today, but it was cloudy this morning. But I did go get that walk and get that early morning cloud sun, and drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Super important. All right, beloveds. Whatever else you do, please open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven. Right here, right now. It is all around us. All the time. We literally live in the city of God, or as Ernest called it today, the celestial metropolis. So let's act like it. Let's act like it. Okay, so have a great day, an amazing day, a wonderful day, an enchanting day, an awesome day, an awe-filled day, a magical day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. Because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. It is a state of grace. It is granted. And it will never be taken away. All right. It's Thursday. There's a book study starting on the series, on the book that Jesse is using for the next 2 months. January and February. That's amazing, led by practitioner Sarah. And if you're interested in that, please email info@creativelife.org. Get that Zoom link. She's really good at the book studies. So please, and with the book studies, you can drop in and out. You don't have to be there every day. So I mean, I encourage that. You'll get more out of it if you are. But if you can't make it every Thursday, so please take that and check it out. So Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you on Facebook Live. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. And you can check us on the social medias on the off chance you're watching this on YouTube. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, depending on the social media. And I am the running Rev Ryan. So have a wonderful day. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.